In the crypto market, sadly, there are a lot of lies, a lot of scams, and a lot of negative activity that occurs within the markets that I thought would be good to do a video on this and kind of go over different ways in which I see a lot of people getting lied to and actually losing money towards as well, but also some misconceptions that you need to start to understand if you do want to be successful within crypto. And maybe you know most of these, but there could be something within this video that you might not have heard of before or might not have realized. So that is exactly why I'm making this video. And some of these things I've, of course, had to figure out myself and have actually lost money due to not understanding these things. All right, so let's talk about the first lie, that crypto only goes up. This is a misconception that mostly beginners actually do tend to see, but at the end of the day, there are also people who've been in crypto for a decent amount of time who have still not learned the idea that crypto does not just continue to go up and up and up. And we're specifically regarding altcoins here. Bitcoin, in my opinion, will always be around and will always have value. Therefore, I see Bitcoin continuing to go in value, but mostly in regards to altcoins, people will get so convicted on a project, and this is mostly for those in the advanced, who will just see that project going up regardless of what happens within market conditions, regardless of what happens to black swan events. Nonetheless, people will get into a project, they'll be very convicted on it, and then they will be very convicted in the fact that that project will 10x, will 20x, will 5x. And so let's say that project ends up 2-3xing, they see it continuing to go up even further from there. And so they have these wild predictions that end up costing them unrealized gains where they end up round tripping. That happens a lot with advanced players. But those beginner traders in crypto will get lied to and will get told that the markets will continuously go up no matter what happens. That's simply not the case. Why is that not the case? Well, it's pretty simple. The answer to that question is simply the fact that no one knows what's going to happen within the markets. You can have very, very good guesses based off a lot of evidence, but at the end of the day, there could always be something that comes in and completely throws off whatever you thought was going to happen. And that's both for crypto going down as well as for crypto going up. We really do not know. And if someone's promising to you that they know everything within the markets, they know exactly what this token's going to do, then they are simply lying to you. It's not the truth whatsoever. I just would like to clarify that, as a lot of people seem to actually be affected by that. I know people who've been affected by that, who've been told certain things for a project and had been told by someone who claimed to know that this is exactly what's going to happen with the project. The truth is, there's never going to be a true 100% definite answer. We just do not know most of the time. The second lie that I see a lot of people falling victim to is the fact that altcoins will make you rich long term. There are absolutely no altcoins besides Ethereum, if you'd like to call that one, that in any way, shape, or form will last 10 years from now. Now, there's of course going to be exceptions to that rule, a lot of the major players, but most of these low cap, even mid cap altcoins that might have some hype within these couple of months, within the past year, they are not going to be around for a long time whatsoever. They are most likely going to die and never recover, or just hold a level in which they really don't do anything. They really don't go down, but they also really don't go up either. There's just a lack of demand and interest. That's what happens to 99% of altcoins. And that is something that I, again, have seen people fall victim to. There's a difference between these hype narratives that will go and cycle back and forth, and there's a difference between those solid projects that are consistently improving, consistently adding value to crypto. Those ones have a very much greater chance of sticking around. Whereas if someone's telling you, and I'm going to reference Crow here, I'm still a believer that Crow does have more room for it to grow and could actually potentially establish itself, but we'll get into that. So for Crow, right, we had AI agents late in Q4 of 2024, where we saw that narrative do significantly well. Any AI agent was seeing great increases in value and price. Whereas now they've completely gotten obliterated. AI XBT is down a decent amount. Crow's price is down a very significant amount since its all-time high. And that is something to take note of, because that is a narrative where 99% of those altcoins, of those AI agents, are never going to recover. They're never going to recover unless we see another wave of the narrative of AI agents pumping. But even then, guys, a lot of people will have already left a lot of those AI agents, and that goes for any narrative that is just in and out the next day. But again, with a coin like Crow, where there's potential for their terminal to be used daily by traders, that does offer that value that we're talking about that could cause it to last a lot longer in the long run. However, with that being said, there's also a pretty good potential that if we have a last pump with Crow, that we could potentially not see anything go on without it. And that's honestly my thoughts on that. Narratives are constantly moving. Don't expect those to be around forever, because at the end of the day, if you're stuck in a project like that of Crow or like that of another AI agent, that could be one of the tokens that in the next AI agent pump, which could be the last AI agent pump, you would be completely left out and you'd probably lose a lot more money. So that is something to keep in mind. And just understand that if you're investing long-term within the markets, then you need to understand the difference between a project that has good long-term qualities and a project that has short-term qualities. Again, a narrative-driven coin that really doesn't have any inherent value except for the short term, et cetera, et cetera. You need to find what those coins are, and I start identifying that. But the idea that all altcoins will make you rich is simply a lie. Only some will be able to actually have any profound effect on your portfolio. The third lie that goes more in general with crypto is that the fact that Bitcoin is too expensive to buy. A lot of people, when they're looking at projects, they'll look at a project like Bitcoin and see it at almost 100,000. Of course, now in this scenario, at the time of this recording, we're at $86,000 as we've fallen down. However, people will even look at 86, they'll look at 50,000, and they'll assume that Bitcoin is expensive. If you're a long-term believer in Bitcoin and you understand all the properties it has as a unit of exchange, as a store of value, you understand all of that, you understand the potential it has in our future lives as a global population with the currency, well, then you would understand that Bitcoin is not too expensive whatsoever. And I'd like to put it this way. There are 23 million Bitcoins in circulation. There always will be. It's either 23 million or 21 million, but nonetheless, it's around that number. And the fact of the matter is, there are a lot more than 23 million people in this world. And a lot of those Bitcoins are actually lost on certain wallets, et cetera, so we'll never be able to recover those. So that leaves the remaining, let's say 18, 19 million Bitcoin to be spread out between billions of people. And if every person in the world, or we can say like 90, 80% of the world is using Bitcoin, well then you even owning 0.10 Bitcoin or even 0.010 Bitcoin is going to put you significantly in the top 10%, even the top 1%, because of the amount you're holding. And that's if Bitcoin becomes a global currency. I believe that there's a potential for that to happen. I don't think that it's indefinite. But in the event it does, if you're looking at Bitcoin saying, oh, I can't afford a single Bitcoin, you can at least own some of it and have some allocation into it. BlackRock's even suggesting its users to actually invest into Bitcoin and have it as a part of their portfolio. Well, then you're going to have some piece of a potential future currency. And that's something that's very cool. Again, even if you can get yourself up to 0.0001, you're still going to have a lot more Bitcoin in the near future, assuming the whole global population begins to adopt it. Now, that might take a little more time, but you get my point. Bitcoin really is not that expensive. Fractional ownership is something that you can easily do with it, if that's something you might not have known. So another common misconception is the fact that regulation will kill crypto. And the fact of the matter is that it really is not possible. Now, when I say that, of course, you can ban IPs, You can do all sorts of things. Government can step in, but they can actually not realistically do anything within the Bitcoin network. It's completely independent on terms of it being separate from being able to be government regulated. However, of course, centralized exchanges like Coinbase can be government regulated. Kraken can be government regulated. But decentralized exchanges like wallets and any other device of that nature, well, you can access that anywhere in the world, whenever, especially hard ledgers where it's literally a physical device that connects to the network as well. There, of course, are ways around that. But even then, if we compare what has happened in the past in terms of regulation, with the China bans, with the SEC lawsuits, we can really see it has barely had any impact on crypto. And especially, guys, if you're looking into it, in the US specifically, we have a very, very pro-crypto government that is now stepping in. And that is very significant, especially if they're able to adopt things like a Bitcoin National Reserve. Banks start adopting crypto in terms of Bitcoin as well. This is going to be very, very cool to see because this is a sound money system, which has a lot more advantages than an unsound money system does, which is our current fiat system. So definitely cool to see, but I do not believe regulation will kill crypto. That's a common misconception that a lot of people who don't really know much about crypto will say. And I'd like to say that that's simply not the case. All right, so this is the last lie, potentially probably the biggest one, is the fact that influencers know best. And when we talk about influencers, I do both mean influencers within the crypto space, crypto influencers, but I also do mean influencers like that of Haley Welch, the Hawktua girl. Of course, we know the aftermath of that. Now, FaZe Banks, Frank DeGods, and I believe someone else is now being investigated within the SEC, and they've completely gone silent as well. And they are all, I consider them now to be crypto community members and crypto influencers. And now there's potential that they were scamming people also. So again, you have all of these dangers, and one of the biggest ones, and this is why I wanted to cover this, is influencers. Influencers are the biggest danger to crypto, but also potentially the biggest upside to crypto, depending on who the influencer actually is and what they're actually doing for the community. So for example, I'd like to go ahead and point out Haley Welch, those types of influencers, but even those are in the crypto community, like Crypto Beast. He's known to be a scammer. A lot of people just push that aside. I know earlier last year, there was a ex-user, Crypto Wolf or something like that, and I was actually a part of his scam. I got scammed during that. I was able to actually pull out before it completely rugged, and now he's nowhere to be seen. Wolf of all coins, I remember. He's nowhere to be seen anymore. So I almost got scammed from him. I had very, very big suspicion. I saw someone call it out. This guy had over 10,000 followers, a big following. He made this account, ran it up, pumped that coin, left, never has been heard from again. That is a very big danger that happens within crypto. And what that does is it causes a lot of distrust within influencers and within community members within crypto. As a community, we want crypto to be a positive place where no one has to worry about these scams. But at the end of the day, this is something that always happens. Now, what can you do to protect yourself? And again, you need to make sure that whoever it is you're listening to, I listen to countless crypto influencers myself. This is why I'm saying this. I have to always make sure that even if I view this person to be credible, that I am doing my own research. This will save you so much stress because you're verifying that the coin is not a scam. You're verifying that this person is trustworthy. You're doing all your due diligence that simply takes time without blindly following someone's advice. And if you can do that, then you yourself are going to be way more well off. A lot of people fall into scams. They don't do their own research into the markets. People are giving them false promises. Oh, this coin's going to do this. And sure, that could be that influencer's belief genuinely. However, if you blindly follow them and their genuine belief turns out to be completely wrong, well, then you yourself are going to fall victim to that. And that is something heavily I want to reiterate, is to do your own research on whatever advice, whatever coin that you are told. Do your own research on it. Please, please, please. There's so many crypto pump and dump groups, so many people who are out to steal your money. It is not even funny how easy it is nowadays because people will just blindly trust and hope for a very significant amount of money to be made for themselves. They'll trust into these groups which these groups will then rug pull on them, guys. So that's something I wanted to talk about. I hope you guys took something from this video. It was a little more informational today. We're going to keep it to every other day for these videos. If you guys liked it, I'll see you guys later in the next video. With all that being said, I'll see you guys later.